Hi, it's Jesse, and I bring you a word from God. Okay. I want to talk to you about power and authority, and I'm gonna piece this together for you. So be patient with me. I'm gonna start with you from Luke 23, where Jesus was talking about, he was he was responding to the women who were crying because the soldiers were taking him off to be crucified. And what he said to them was, "For if people do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" He was referring to himself as the green tree, the tree who had not yet matured, the tree who had not fully come into his power. And you got to wonder, like, what authority do people have to go and cut down something that is still being matured and grown? But if you read back to Genesis in chapter 1 verse 30, God gave the beast authority to do this. He said, "And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food." So the beast has authority to come after those who are immature, those who do not yet stand in their power to say, "No, this is wrong." Those who are afraid and cower down and believe that there's nothing we can do against the beast because they're so powerful and they're so great and they're so strong, you know. But we have hope here because, for one, Jesus overcame the world, right? And God raised him from the dead. But for two, we can learn about where the beast gets his power from, and we can learn that we don't have to be afraid, that we can stand up, even though we're green, even though we're immature, even though we have not yet come into our power yet. We can stand up and say, wrong is wrong, okay? And even if I can't do anything to take you down, I am certainly not going to stand in agreement with you, okay? So in Revelation 13, we find this horrible beast out of the sea, right? Now, if I want you to be mindful of this, if God gave the beast its power to come after the green things, then why would the beast need the power from the dragon? It says here that the dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshipped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshipped the beast and asked, "Who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it?" So we're saying we're bowing down to beasts and dragons because, they seem so powerful and whatnot, right? But what does God tell us to do, right? He says that whoever has ears, let them hear. If anyone is to go into captivity they will go. If anyone is to be killed with the sword they will be killed. This calls for the patient endurance and faithfulness on the part of God's people. So we don't fight against it with our own strength and might, because if we go back to Luke 23, we see when all these things are coming against us, when the beast is on our heels, when the dragon's on our heels, we're to endure it and look up because our help comes from God, our help comes from above, and knowing that as we wait patiently, we know that we have something to look forward to because Jesus promised that he will come again to judge both the living and the dead, right? So we know that while we don't have power and authority to take the beast and the dragon down, we know the one who does. And so we can testify before him. We can bring our hardships and the tyranny that we've endured before him, and we can know that he will vindicate us and he will bring us justice. And in the end, we will enter into the kingdom of heaven. And the price that we pay is not an offering, like giving up something that we love, but rather the price that we pay is the suffering that we've endured, and not seeking justice, but allowing God to have the justice, allowing God to have his vengeance, allowing God to have his rule. This is what brings him back, and you got to understand, we don't end with the beast out of the sea. It doesn't end there, because there's another beast that comes up, and that's the beast out of the earth. It says, then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. So evidently the first beast wasn't successful, and what he'd done, he had to go and grab another one. It had two horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf, and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed, and performed great signs, and even causing fire to come down from heaven and the earth in full view of the people. Because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image to honor the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. That number is 666. Okay. So what we gotta understand is we can bow down. We can be afraid of authority, right? We can give them our power, or we can come to understand that the beast is only empowered by us. The only authority that they have comes through us, because we are immature, because we don't trust in God to be our provider, to be our protector, to be our strong tower. He can only have power over us because we come into agreement with him. Because we look at our brothers and sisters who are suffering, and we say, well, they deserved it. They had done something to be there. Or we say, well, they enjoyed being there, because otherwise they would have walked away from there, not knowing how the beast has controlled everything around them. And the beast is not letting them get up, and we are holding them accountable for it by coming into agreement with the beast. And we know not what we do, right? That's why Jesus said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. But we can know what we do. We can know that as we come into agreement with the beast, we are giving it our power. And the beast has no power unless we give it to it. So in essence, I'm saying that we're responsible for the tyranny that's going on in the world. A lot of people will say that there's no God, but that's not true. That's not true. When you say that, you come into agreement with the beast. And you have to understand that you're giving your power and your authority, and you're taking away the power and authority from God, because the beast has no power. The enemy goes around like a roaring lion. He's not a lion. He doesn't get his power from God. He gets his power from you. And we have to stop empowering the beast. And the way that we stop empowering the beast is to live as Jesus taught us to live. Because Jesus told us, love one another. He told us, love your enemies. Just show love for everybody. Never mind what they did. Judge not, lest ye be judged, right? Never mind what they did. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't change who you are. And who you are is who God made you. And who God made you is to be a reflection of him, created in his image, to be a reflection of him. So even if your brother has wronged, even if they have sinned, you're still to forgive them and love them anyways. And that is the only way to take the power from the beast, because the beast needs to be brought down. I don't want to see any man fall, but this beast system that's above us, this beast system that pits us against each other and turns us against one another and tells us that these people deserve it and they're not worthy of life, it's a crock. It's a lie from the devil, a lie from the pit of hell, and we need to put it down. And I know something about it because the beast has been running my life. Look at this. I went to Texas for about 5 weeks, and I went there with ample money, but the beast kept freezing my assets, and the beast was manipulating things so that I would lose more money, right? And so I went into a shelter because I did not want to come back here. And look what the shelter did. The shelter joined hands with the beast and started trying to manipulate things around me. You know, I had just taken my son out of the shower and just got him dressed in clothes. And they told me that my son smelled like urine. And I said, it's not him because he just got out the shower fresh and clean. He's sitting there eating his Cheerios, you know? And then the other lady came around and said, no, he smells like urine and it's following him everywhere. It's very strong. You need to check him, check his beds, check everything. My son doesn't wet himself. He's 8 years old. Number one. Number two, he just got out of the shower. He's fresh and clean. How dare you try to manipulate me to make me think something that was not? But this is the power of the beast and his reach. It doesn't stop where you are. It doesn't stop when you're under him, because he has reached to go out and turn somebody else's testimony. All he has to do is find out where you are. And he has spies all over the place. He can find you wherever you go. It does not matter. And then the new place that you find where you think that you're going to set up your new life and you're going to be okay, that new place seems to be just an extension of who he is. And the horrible part about it is that I recognize that it's just an extension of my beast, the reason why these people are doing what they're doing. But I also recognize that my beast has no power without them. And why would they be so... Why would they then turn and do the same abuse that the beast was doing to me in my own home? Why would they choose to be an extension of him when they advertise that they're there to help women who have been abused? They lie. They lie. They weren't there to help me. They were there to be an extension of the beast, you know? And this is where we got to take away the beast's power, because if no matter what the beast had said about me, you know, it didn't justify what they did. It didn't justify them trying to make a case to make me something that I wasn't, you know, to make my child something that he wasn't, to make it look like I was a neglectful or an abusive parent. It didn't give them the right to do that. You understand? But that's the way the beast works. And I understand that if they didn't bow down to the beast, maybe they lose their funding, right? But for me, who was looking for refuge, who was looking for a safe place, who was looking for a new start, a new beginning, away from the beast, because I don't need to fight him, I just need to get away from him, you know, it's a whole different story, and it opens my eyes up to make me see, you know, wickedness is set in high places, and when the high places are the only places that we can turn for help, because, you know, people defer their responsibility onto the authority, then we have a big problem, because the authority is working with the beast, and the beast is just there to destroy us all. And we need to start saying no, you know, then no, I'm not going to do this because this is wrong. I'm going to choose to live as Jesus told us to live. I'm going to love my brother and sister because they deserve better. You know, because this is the way that God intended us to live. I'm not going to give my power to the beast because he's not empowered by God. I'm not going to empower him because he's bringing tyranny all over, and I'm not going to be an extension of his tyranny. You know what I'm saying? So that's my word for you today, is to recognize that the beast has no power without you. And to encourage you to withdraw that power, and to recognize that just because you think something is credible and something is righteous, don't buy into it. Stay as Jesus taught you. You know, stay in love towards your brother and sister, because if you don't stay in love, then you might just be empowering the beast that you can't see, because you think that the beast is the righteous one. All right, have a good day.